Good morning, all you nuts, and welcome to the Nut House. That's just such a W's thing. I love it. How you doing this morning? Hey, W. Good morning, Deborah. It's good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Ugly Truckling. Oh my, oh my, oh my. We got Shadow Grey Wolf, JD Fan, and if I've missed anybody in between, I forgive me. Hey, Jack Buck, how you doing? Good to see you. Oh man, it is a beautiful morning. The sun is not even up, and I am. That's how it usually goes. I'm getting up before everybody. Well, except for the people that are already up. There's quite a bit of people that actually wake up before I do. Seems pretty damned amazing to me that everybody's waking up, and here I am just sort of not paying a whole lot of attention. Ah, and I was reading this nice, interesting story. Good morning, Pam Williams. Nice, nice. Good to see you. Yeah, it's a crazy thing when you get up this early and you look and you go, wow, look at all this crazy stuff that happens whenever I'm stepping away from the computer for the evening or for the day. You know, like it just comes popping up. Like, why? Why? Here, I'll show you why. Because this is the kind of crap that you end up missing out on. And this one here. So I was working this yesterday, and then this comes up involving Gwinnett Transit Bus. Now, I'm gonna just let this play in the background with no sound because it's pretty damn funny. That this bus, and I'll put it on even sped up just so you get an idea how long this went on. It was over 2 hours, pretty damn close. So this bus just, I from what I understand, the driver was held at gunpoint, and you just get to watch this silliness along with me while I read the news. Um, see, this is why I didn't put the sound on. So a police chase in Gwinnett County. But here's what came up really interesting. A Russian warship conduct Atlantic drills conduct. See, you gotta phrase this stuff right. Don't use words that you shouldn't be using inside of a story. New hypersonic missiles are on board. Uh-oh. So Russian warships conducted drills in the Atlantic, the military said Tuesday, as they were heading to visit Cuba as part of Moscow's effort to project power amid the tensions with the West over Ukraine. Now, I may not be a world traveler. I mean, I have traveled in places, but I'm looking. And now I may be crazy. Oh, God bless America. That's not what I was looking for. World. There we go. Oh, Earth. That makes. Now, like I said, I'm not the brightest. Okay. Let's see here. Now, I will pull it up here because some people find it a little confusing, you know, because I just sort of want to point out something. Go, and we'll hit the pause on this for a second because we're going to come back to this. just just to give you a little perspective here. Just to give you a little perspective. So I'm sure this time instead. Giving it a look here. Now, like I said, I'm not really smart. Not super smart. But why does it say that's Alaska? Am I upside down or something? I must be. Yeah. Here we go. Let's see if we can pivot this thing around. Okay. So here's I'm assuming that I'm looking at this upside down. Because this here would be the Russia. Like everything's upside down on the earth. Doggone it. How do you get it to spin the other way? Oh, okay. Here we go. That way and then that way. All right. Let's do this. There we go. That makes more sense. All right. So here's where we got the that great state of Alaska. And then you come over here and this here looks like Russia. Okay. Now, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty damn sure that this is Russia right there. All right. You realize for you to go from, from you to go to from for you to go to Russia. Damn, I'm all mixed up. Why what happened with the earth? Gotten all confusing. So for us to go, why does it say this is just Russia over here? This is part of Russia also. Okay. I'm confused. But to go from Russia, let's see, all the way over to let's see, where is it? Somewhere over here. Oh, nope. Nope. We'll just keep turning. Um, uh, Puerto Rico, Miami, Cuba. Okay. So did I go the wrong way? No, no. So here's Cuba. And then we spin the earth until we get over here to Russia. Okay. Or, got Russia there. And I mean, what did they do? Go all around Greenland just to swim all the way around here to get to Cuba. See, Russia, United States, Russia, Cuba. Okay. Now I think I'm pretty much in the right spot. The Earth had me all mixed up here. Geography isn't one of my good things. So whenever they say that Russian warships were heading to visit Cuba, that doesn't seem to me like you're projecting power. Just saying. It doesn't seem to me like you're projecting power. We'll go back to the bus chase because that's so much more fun. It's so much more fun to watch that. Um, the Russian Defense Military and Admiral Gorshchev frigate, the Kazan nuclear-powered submarine, conducted the exercise that was intended to simulate a missile strike on a group of enemy ships. Oh, hooray. The ministry said the drills involved computer simulations of an attack on these targets more than kilometers. Yeah. The Admiral Gorshchev is armed with new Zircon hypersonic missiles. The weapon has been designed to arm Russian cruisers, frigates, and submarines that could be used against both enemy ships and ground targets. He has touted Zircon as a potent weapon capable of penetrating any existing anti-missile defense by flying 9 times faster than the speed of sound at a range of more than 1,000 kilometers. Okay. So the Cuban Foreign Ministry said the Russian warships will be in Havana between Wednesday and June. Huh. Isn't that amazing? They will be in the region in Havana Wednesday and June, between Wednesday and June 17th. Oh, see, it came to a stop. See, I missed this also. And we'll bring up the audio on this one here. Because if I'm not mistaken, there was a lot more to it than this. All right. There it is. Person in custody after the bus chase. Now, from what I understand, it was multiple counties. And so they went from Gwinnett to DeKalb. That's a good distance. But yeah, they from what I understand in this particular story. Now I'm going to be telling two stories at the same time. Give me a second. Yeah, I can't do 2 stories at the same time. All right. Cuban statement following announcement that Washington had been tracking Russian warships and aircraft that were expected to arrive in the Caribbean for a military exercise. It's not the first time Russia has sent its warships to the Caribbean, but this week's visit follows Putin's warning that Moscow could respond to Ukraine's Western allies, allowing Kiev to use their weapons to strike targets in Russia by giving similar weapons to adversaries of the West worldwide. So, how is this really important? Well, it has nothing to do with, your weapons that are being sent back and forth and all that kind of crap, except that they're sending weapons. The US is sending weapons to the Ukraine. And the reason they're sending them to the Ukraine is because they are, well, let's see, trying to get rid of some old shit, I guess is the best way to put it. Get rid of some old garbage so we can purchase some new. That's usually what we do with a lot of our arms. Not always, but quite a bit. So those things get sent over to the Ukraine. Now, what's to say Ukraine only used them for Russia? Just saying. I mean, you're putting them there in the hands of what do you call them? Something that rhymes with Yahtzee. I'm pretty sure you're putting it in the hands of those fine folks right there. I mean, there are humans also. Um, why would we do this? We're not allies with Ukraine, as it's about placing our, you know, our military in that position, because it's just like leaving helicopters in Afghanistan. It doesn't work well. Yeah, yeah, it ends up on the black market. Yeah, how much of it ends up on the black market? How much of that ends up showing up in other countries like North Korea? How much of that ends up showing in other countries like China or Middle East? What's to say that something doesn't get diverted somewhere along the way? I mean, it's constantly things are getting lost in the military. I mean, it's not like I'm making this up. Military loses things all the time. Hell, they lost a plane last year. I mean, the reason why I know they lost a plane last year, and it's one of my my sound bites in here. If I can find it. You've seen the guy. You've seen the guy. Whenever I show him to you, you'll understand. It's under a different brand here. I think it is in this one right here. Yeah, this one right here. So this guy right here, yeah, that guy right there. I got that from him describing what it sounded like whenever a jet flew over the top of his house in his area in South Carolina before it crashed. They couldn't track the military. The military couldn't track this because it had its stealth turned on and the pilot had ejected from the plane. Let me know my battery's going dead on it. He couldn't eject from the plane. So, well, he ejected from the plane, had the stealth turned on, so they weren't tracking it on radar, and he put the plane into a wooded area. Luckily, nobody was injured, but yeah, the military lost the damn thing. So you're telling me that they're going to be able to track where every single one of these missiles go? Mm. Yeah, I don't see that happening. That right there, I don't see that happening. They've done some long battles together. I don't think that's happening. I think that is what we're hearing. To me, that just sounds like propaganda. It could be true, but to me just sounds like propaganda. Yeah, they don't have the greatest repertoire there. But the Cuban Foreign Ministry and the Russian warships will be in Havana Wednesday, June 17th, noting that none will carry nuclear weapons, assuring their presence does not present a threat in that region, which would put them really close to the Florida and very close to DC. Yeah, you put Russia on the eastern seaboard. Not the first time Russia has sent warships to the Caribbean, but this week's visit follows Putin warning that Moscow could respond to Ukraine's Western allies, allowing Kiev to use weapons to strike targets in Russia by giving similar weapons to adversaries of the West worldwide. Yeah, do you think that that Cuba needs a nuclear weapon to cause massive damage to Miami, Washington, if the range is good enough on them and you get them set up right, what's to say you can't send one of those right into downtown New York? That should worry you just a little bit. Not saying they would. I'm just saying that should worry you. US will send Ukraine another Patriot missile system. Wow. After Kiev's desperate calls for air defenses. Hmm. Didn't they have the ghost of Kiev or something like that? Kiev, whatever. Didn't they have it's propaganda to cause fear like the BRICS alliance. Yeah, BRICS, in case you guys don't know what BRICS is, it's Brazil, Russia, India, China, and is it Saudi or something like that? To say that that BRICS that these groups are working together, or yeah, something like that. I think maybe Korea is on that. Anyhow, U.S. will send Ukraine, blah, blah, blah. United States will send Ukraine another Patriot missile system, two U.S. officials said Tuesday, answering Kiev's desperate calls for more air defenses as it battles an intense Russian assault on the northeastern Kharkov region. The officials said President Joe Biden has approved the move. It would be the second Patriot system that the U.S. has given to Ukraine, although the Pentagon has routinely provided an undisclosed number of missiles for the system. Other allies, including Germany, have also provided air defense systems as well as munitions for them. Two U.S. officials spoke on condition of anonymity because, well, we can't really talk about who we are because once they find out who we are, well, because that decision has not been publicly announced. President Zelensky late last month pleaded for additional U.S.-made Patriot systems, arguing that they will help our forces fight the close to 3,000 bombs that he said Russia launches into the country every month. How? How? He said Ukraine needs two systems to protect Kharkov, where Russia launched a cross-border offensive on May 10th, and that still has Ukrainian troops reeling. Wait, didn't we just hear like a week before that? You know, whenever they're talking about May 10th, as they were saying, oh, Ukraine is like stomping the hell out of them and they're doing great. That's what we heard. So you're telling me that whenever Russia actually flexed, Ukraine went, oh, yeah. Ugh. I think we're all nuts. We need to be worrying about our own stuff, not getting involved in Ukraine. Yeah, yeah. That would be my thought also. The decision comes after defense leaders from the US and Europe and other nations prepare for their monthly meeting in Ukraine's secretary needs U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. Lloyd. I love that name. Lloyd will host meetings in Brussels on Thursday. Why are you in Brussels? U.S. routinely press for allies to provide air defense. Yeah. Why are we doing that? Why are we pressing for? Well, because this is a European problem. Let them deal with what's going on in Europe. We don't need to be involved. If the rest of the EU countries don't want to help Ukraine, if the rest of the NATO countries have no desire to help Ukraine, then why are we doing this behind the scenes? If they're trying to include Ukraine into NATO, that right there would they know immediately as soon as they try pulling that crap that Russia has already said, yeah, we're not going to tolerate that. You want to see the full force of Russia? Include Ukraine into NATO. You want to see full force of that without Russia having any say so for what goes on in Europe, one of the most powerful countries in that region. Mm. U.S. is also wary of giving too many away since they're used all over the world to protect U.S. forces and allies. Well, you think? Ah, cleaning up stolen tax dollars. Yep, that is pretty much it. Ah, well, thank you. Only time to get news when you get Shizzy and Mo. Ah. Italy's Maloney will welcome the G7 summit fortified by an EU vote that shook the French and German leaders. Well, imagine that. Italian Premier Giorgia Maloney hosts this week's summit with a group of 7 industrialized nations as the most stable European Union leader. Maloney's German and French counterparts were shaken by European parliamentary elections that fortified Maloney's far right brothers of Italy and strongest in Italy, setting her up as possible bridge maker, if not a kingmaker in Europe. Meloni's solid results create a rare stability in Italian politics as far-right parties rattled both French Macron, who called snap elections after his party was eclipsed by Marine Le Pen's national rally, and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, whose authority suffered a jolt after far-right Alternative for German finished second, beating his socialists. Huh. So you remember there was something that happened around World War One. What was it, World War Two? Pretty sure it was World War One. That Mussolini, being the everyone says, oh, but he was fascist. No, he was socialist. You see, there's a fine line between the fascism and the socialisms. It's one side of the same coin. It's dangerous. And he was beat back for his ideas. Now, had Mussolini stuck around, that would have been a very bad scene. Been a very bad scene. Maloney's solid results create a rare stability in Italian politics as far-right parties. Yeah, far-right parties. I'm proud of this nation presents itself at the G7 and in Europe as the strongest government of all. This is something that has never happened in the past and which is happening now. It is a satisfaction and also a great responsibility, though the leader of the far right party, Maloney, continues to hew to the center, particularly on foreign policy, which made her a assuring transatlantic partner. I thought they were going to say Trans Am as a wars rage on in Ukraine. What does that have to do with anything? Maybe because the EU is sick of the garbage because they're losing out really bad. Lord Chippy's going to go vet off the rocker judge and his crooked prosecutor. Oh yeah, we'll get there to that. She will solidify the role this week, leading G7 meeting at the Southern Puglia. I'm not even going to try to say it. From June 13th to 15th, focusing on global conflicts, the spread of AI, and on Africa. Now, what does AI and Africa have anything to do with each other? With a view particularly to Italy's longstanding concern about uncontrolled migration and human traffickers. Same thing we're seeing here in the US. Maybe we get control of what's happening here in the US. We can handle what's going on with illegals coming into the country. Mm. While Maloney won office with a campaign that promised a full naval blockade of charity ships rescuing illegals from drowning in the Mediterranean, Villa noted that she moderated her policy in office and has instead directed the rescue ships to the northern ports far from the search and rescue area. Such a policy is still protested by charities, but is far from a blockade. These policies have changed. They have become more pragmatic. Pragmatic, sorry. As a result, Maloney is winning support from voters that don't necessarily identify as far right. Hmm. Brothers of Italy won 28.8% of the Italian vote in 2 days. Polling in Italy, don't care about your polling. Opposition. Uh, Demo- Democrat Party was also strengthened, finishing with 24. Mhm. We continue like a hammer every day to nail the Maloney government on social and wage issues that it ignores. Of course, we will do so by working stubbornly in a united way to build an alternative that this country needs to this. Right. Georgia Maloney, we're coming, Schlein said. Maybe Schlein, like schlong, except without with an IE. EI. EI. It is ridiculous because here's the problem. All you're saying, this is what you're gonna fight against or on are social and how much money you're getting paid. That's what your fight is. Your fight is for social justice and how much people get paid. It's basically one and the same in their minds. It's this trope that you hear constantly of the pay gap. Women have this drastic pay gap. They're not getting paid as much as men. Well, wouldn't it behoove companies to hire all women? If the pay gap is so large, that means they can save millions, if not billions of dollars a year just by hiring only women. There really is a pay gap. That's what they would do. If I was a business owner, that's what I would do. If the case was that women are getting paid less money than men, then why aren't more companies hiring women? I mean, I think that hiring women to run your garbage trucks is a great idea. You think I'm joking? Garbage truck operators, the guys that pick up your trash, they make a hell of a lot of money. No joke. They make a hell of a lot of money. Ah, you think? You think that's the case? You think that influx of illegals drops wages? Hmm. Yeah, yeah. So does this. So does this. What's next for Hunter Biden after his conviction on federal gun charges? Huh. Hunter Biden's legal woes not over after his conviction of 3 felony firearm charges. Uh, in a trial that put a spotlight on his drug-fueled past. I stutter and I stammer because this right here is is not what it did. Everyone's saying that the 3 felony firearm charges put a spotlight on his drug-fueled past. No, no. His drug-fueled past put a highlight on the firearm charges. It put a highlight on the $1.4 million that's owed in taxes. That's another trial that's coming up. Yeah. He's got criminal tax charges in the middle of his father's reelection campaign. How does this affect his father? Well, because his father's in on it. Now, it's amazing to me that the coverage on this has been almost bare minimum. Yet every single day, Trump was being covered nonstop. Nonstop. Sure glad he's not running for president. Well, yeah. Oh, don't be surprised if he doesn't at some point. Sure glad he's not running for president, but don't be surprised if he doesn't at some point in time. Don't be surprised if you don't see Hunter Biden run for president at some point. And yet we are focusing on Trump and made up charges. Exactly. Exactly. And you'll also find that they change the story oh so much of what actually happened. And I wonder why. Well, they wonder why we have these questions. We have these questions for them. Could it be that we don't trust what they're saying? Oh, well, and I've got this right here from Fox. This is what I got from Fox right here. About the close
on live now, but let's go out right now. We are getting word here. Special prosecution speaking now on the guilty counts.
My name is David Weiss. I'm special counsel.
Yeah, get your audio fixed.
Earlier today, Hunter Biden was convicted of 2 counts of lying on a form submitted to a federal firearms dealer about his addiction or use.
Now, see, this is the thing that the news has said, well, it was 4 firearm charges. No, they weren't just firearm charges. They were firearm related charges. But he was convicted 2 counts of lying on a federal form submitted to a firearms dealer about drug addiction.
Use of crack cocaine and possessing a firearm while a user or addict. There have been
And possessing a firearm while a user or addict. Those were the charges. Those 2.
2 overarching themes emphasized by the prosecution during trial: this defendant's illegal choices and the rule of law. First, while there has been much testimony about the defendant's abuse of drugs and alcohol, ultimately, this case was not just about addiction, a disease that haunts families across the United States.
Yeah, see, this is where you go, wait, didn't the AP just say right here, Hunter Biden's legal woes are not far over after his conviction on 3 felony firearms charges in a trial that put a spotlight on his drug-fueled past? But didn't we just hear what the special prosecutor said? That's not what he said. What he said had nothing to do with that at all. Said, yeah, it highlighted it, but that it was the illegality of what he was doing. Oops, sorry. I hit the wrong key.
Including Hunter Biden's family. This case was about the illegal choices defendant made while in the throes of addiction, his choice to lie on a government form when he bought a gun, and the choice to then possess that gun. It was these choices and the combination of guns and drugs that made his conduct dangerous.
Yes.
Second, no one in this country is above the law. Everyone must be accountable for their actions, even this defendant. However, Hunter Biden should be no more accountable than any other citizen convicted of this same conduct.
Exactly.
The prosecution has been and will continue to be committed to this principle, and to the principles of federal prosecution in carrying out its responsibilities. I want to thank the jury for their service. There are few civic responsibilities more important than jury service. 15 Delawareans came to court each day and performed their responsibilities in a professional and conscientious manner. We thank them. I want to thank Derek Hines, Leo Wise, and the entire special counsel team. I am so proud of this group of attorneys, agents, and litigation professionals. This is a difficult assignment. These folks have been working 7 days a week for the last couple months, litigating a variety of issues in district and appellate courts on two coasts. They have given their heart and soul to this work. They represent the best that public service has to offer. I am incredibly grateful. Finally, I want to thank Attorney General Garland for providing the support necessary to fulfill our mission, ensuring that we have the independence to appropriately pursue our investigations and prosecutions. As you know, we have additional trials and investigative work to be done. So I will not entertain questions at this time. Our work.
Isn't that amazing? He just lays it all out. Yeah, it can be Funston. It's discussed in 2A circles how some marijuana can be used against you federally. Absolutely.
Continues. Thank you for your consideration. Thanks.
We've heard from jurors asking, Mr. Weiss, would you entertain a plea deal in the California case?
All right, special counsel there.
And that was all that they did. That was the limit to their communication. So whenever they came in, they basically worked their way through prosecuting the case. Not prosecuting the person, but prosecuting the case. Doing it impassionately. If they had gone after him personally, this could have lasted a lot longer. And I think that that's what they did with Trump, just tried to drag it out as much as possible. Now, there was a lot of questions about all of this. And of course, they managed to have a juror that spoke to CNN, of course, after the guilty verdict. And I've got that one also right here.
I do want to ask you just one quick question. There's a lot of talk about the jurors everybody knowing a Biden in Delaware. There's a lot of discussion about that going in. Did anybody have a personal connection to Joe Biden and the Biden family? Did that play into the discussion at all?
Not at all. The family was not at all.
Okay.
We didn't discuss. We didn't use Jill. We didn't use the President Biden. Like I was telling someone earlier, like President Biden never really even came into play for me because his name was only brought up once during the trial, and that's when it kind of sunk in a little bit. Oh wow, this is the sitting president's son who's on trial, and so that was kind of hard. And to know, okay, what the trial's about now. But you kind of put that out of your mind. And after it was brought up again, I did put it out of my mind. I never really
never
put the two together.
George,
really
stand by for a second. I want to bring in my colleague,
Isn't that amazing?
Paula Reed, who's been covering this trial.
Isn't that amazing that this is what the jury was thinking? They put no consideration into this being the president's son. They put that out of their mind, looked at the facts of the case, and did exactly what they were supposed to do. Yeah, they knew it going in. They all knew this going in. But I think senior resident son, yeah. But you can also look at these things appropriately. As a juror, you can look at it and go, yeah, let me hear what the case has to say. Can I set this kind of stuff aside and just realize that, yeah, sure, the president's there, but that's not going to change my verdict. That's not going to change the way that I judge this or act appropriately.
From start to finish. Paula, I know you have a question for Juror 10.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you so much for joining us. This is so important to hear exactly how you guys reached this verdict. But I want to get your take on Naomi Biden's testimony. What is your assessment of the defense's decision to put her on the stand? How did that?
That is the most. See, they're trying to put something in there. Was it wonderful that they put Naomi Biden on there? What does it matter? See, they're trying to, for whatever reason, CNN, because this is a conversation with CNN. This just came in from Forbes, but this was they cut out the people. It's it is so they can't understand how, we put, they could have got the president up there to testify. Well, that would have looked really bad. Because he probably would have rambled on forever. Why does it matter her coming up there? Really? In all honesty, why does it matter her coming up there?
That impact your decision?
None. We just said that.
It did not impact our decision that much. I felt
That much?
I felt bad that they put Naomi on trial as
on
witness.
trial. A witness. Yeah.
I think that was probably a strategy that should not have been done. No daughter should ever have to testify or against her dad.
Yeah. Wow, huh?
Do you
So
think that Hunter Biden should?
Like,
Do you think that Hunter Biden should go to jail after this verdict?
Yes. That's not my choice,
well,
though.
I was talking earlier, and I deliberating. We were not thinking of the sentencing, and no, I really don't think that
took
Hunter belongs
anything
in
into
jail.
play whatsoever, just like he was supposed to do. Jeez, these people.
If you look at this case, and you realize that when Haley dumped the gun in the trash can and it was retrieved, and Hunter Biden did not want to press charges because he was the victim of a theft of the firearm. He did not want to press any charges against Haley. And another thing that I also thought was, they asked him, did you want your gun back? And he said no, he did not want the gun back. When he said he did not want that gun back, and that gun sat in evidence for almost 5 years, I think that may have been what led to his downfall. Had he taken possession of that gun, I don't know if we would even have a trial, because he may have sold the gun, got rid of the gun, sold it back to a gun shop or whatever, and it wasn't like it was sitting in evidence. I just think that I believe that means it was sitting in evidence, and somebody got a hold of it and say, hey, let's check this out a little bit more and see exactly how he obtained that gun.
Juror 10, it's Manu Raju again. Would you have wanted to hear from Hunter Biden himself? Do you wish he testified?
Why did they always have that same tone of voice? Would you want to hear? I mean, it's the same damn tone of voice. Ugh.
Or did that make any difference as you're weighing conviction?
No, I didn't want to hear from Hunter, and I think sitting through the whole trial, I was thinking he's better off not testifying.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what his state of mind was.
There you go.
Yeah, I didn't think it would be a good idea for him to testify in his own defense.
Just to take us back into the room, when it went from a 6-6 yesterday to unanimous today, what was the mood like among the jurors? Did it get contentious at all? Were people pretty amicable at all? You said that politics did not play a role in your assessment. Did you sense that it played a role in any of the other jurors' assessments?
No, absolutely. I think that was unanimous too. There was nothing, nobody, no politics came into play.
See, right there. CNN thinking, oh, this is going to be, oh, we're going to bring politics are going to come into this. But they say no politics came into play on this at all. This was not what they were looking for. CNN did not want to hear that because it should have been all political. Weren't they just arguing politically? You're left, you're right. No, they did their job as jurors and listened to the evidence and stayed emotionless out of it. I mean,
politics was not even spoken about.
And unlike the trial that happened with Trump, you notice that they haven't got any of those jurors in there. None of those had come forward and said anything. Wonder why. Wonder why. Maybe they didn't even reach out. Who knows? Maybe they did reach out, but they just don't carry the narrative that they want us to hear. They have said more than once that the law is the law. It's a novel concept. Exactly, JD. Some petty gun charges ain't jack compared to what he should have been convicted on. Oh, there's a lot of things that still are yet to come out. A lot of things are still yet to come out. See, they went after Trump for what, $130,000? Oh, and then there was a probation hearing. I got to pull that up.
The first family was not even spoken about. It was all about Hunter. It was.
Yep.
There was more talk about Hunter, Naomi. Everybody felt really bad for Naomi. That I think that's one things that they most of the jurors felt sorry for was Naomi just testifying against her father, or the defense putting her on the stand. I think that was a bad mistake for them to put her on the stand.
Yeah.
Wow. It sounds
like it.
And Paula, I think you have a question also for Juror 10.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, Drew, what do you think of this case overall? I mean, do you think that this was a legitimate use of taxpayer resources to bring this case?
What? That's the question. That is the question that you have. Do you think this was a good use of taxpayer? What? Ah. Oh, Jesus. That is your final question. Do you think it was a good use of taxpayer funds to bring this case? Sorry, you came in late. What were the charges? Lying on federal forms, possessing a firearm while basically on drugs. Those were the charges, which are felonies. And the charges combined could land him 25 years in prison. Just on lying on federal forms. Yeah. Possession of a firearm illegally obtained. Yeah. All of those kinds of things. Oh, no. None of that stuff was, that's They keep that stuff out of the courts with these peoples. Yeah. No, I think it's 25 combined. I think that's the max that they give them. I don't know. I'm not an attorney. I didn't look over the whole case. I'm just amazed that how fast this moved and how little coverage it got. Like very little coverage. Very, very little coverage on this. Do they ask that during the many Trump trials? Nope. That's my point. That is a question that was not asked during the Trump trials. It's strange to me that they didn't. Is Shissy frozen? I better not be frozen. But you play one on stream? No, I don't. Never. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab myself a cup of coffee. Make sure you grab yourself a cup of coffee. Grab a cup of coffee, grab it, hold it, warm your soul. Well, or drink tea or, water, or whatever it is that you're drinking in the morning. A bourbon, scotch, whatever it might be. And I'm going to give you a little bit of music. And this one should be released sometime this week. One of my new albums. Check it out.
Morning sun, it's a brand new day. Gotta shake the sleep, gotta find my way to the kitchen where the coffee's hot. Take a little break, give it all I got. Rise and brew, yeah, rise and brew. Wanna get my cup and start anew. Rise and brew, yeah, rise and brew. Take a little break is what I gotta do. Stepping out of bed, feel the reggae beat. Shuffle to the kitchen, moving my feet. Coffee's calling, got that morning vibe. Wake up the soul, feeling so alive. Rise and brew, yeah, rise and brew. Gonna get my cup and start anew. Rise and brew, yeah, rise and brew. Take a little break, it's what I gotta do. On the way to the brew, take a bio break. Freshen up my mind, for goodness sake. Wash away the dreams, face a brand new light. With the coffee in hand, everything's alright. Rise and brew, yeah, rise and brew. Gonna get my cup and start anew. Rise and brew, yeah, rise and brew. Take a little break is what I gotta do. Gotta get the coffee, start a brand new day. Whiz, get up, it's time to ride. Whiz and Coffee, sweet harmony. Down in the kitchen, beans are on the line. Whiz is humming to the streaming time. The aromas rising, filling up the air. Cup of Java magic takes away the care. With away the care. Rise and brew, yeah, rise and brew. Gonna get my cup and start anew. Rise and brew, yeah, rise and brew. Take a little break is what I gotta do. The sun is shining, so Whiz is dancing with his coffee cup. In the morning sunlight, he's lifting up with every sip and every funky beat. Whiz is ready to take on any feat. Whiz, get ready to take on any feat. Whiz and brew, My balls are tingling. Yeah, my balls are tingling. Oh,
Yes. It's nice to be able to get up and get coffee in the morning. Whenever I first started doing this, I couldn't do that. You guys like it, huh? Hmm. Ah, you were hoping, but I knew wouldn't have got brought up. But I'm glad Slimeball got convicted of something at least. Yeah, it is. Yes, coffee. Eat chocolate. Coffee and drink coffee. Nice. You like this one? Awesome, Stacy. I'm glad you do like this one. I do too. I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, I've got new albums coming out. If you haven't seen my homepage, oh yeah, I've got some new stuff coming. Stuff that you've already heard. If you've been watching this channel, then you've probably heard most of the songs that are going to be on the album at least once. But I've got two of those coming out this week. Probably on the same day they should come out. So you'll see them both drop. One is going to be bluegrass, and the other one's going to be the reggae. Yeah, I think they're all pretty good. It's sort of a rockabilly blues album. It'll be cool. You'll enjoy it. Getting good morning from your Alaska. Oh, your Alaskan Malamute. Oh man, that is awesome. That is awesome. DJ Shizzy has some good hits. I'm not a DJ. I'm just an idiot with a microphone. That's the way I look at it. Well, let's get what this guy's answer is, because we all know that was a bullshit question from CNN. That's the question that really bothered them the most.
Yes, I do believe it. Once they found out that Hunter bought a gun, and did he buy it legally? Was he an addict? Was he addicted to crack when he purchased it? And that was the biggest factor in this whole case, and that's what the whole case was about. And so, and all 12 jurors did agree that yes, he knowingly bought a gun when he was an addict or he was addicted to drugs.
And then they cut him off after that. There was this, oh, damn it. That's not the answer we wanted. That is not the answer we wanted. They hate when this happens. They hate when this happens because it just drives them up the damn wall. It doesn't fit our damned narrative. How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? And here was MSNBC's response to it. Now, you have to remember, this is the same MSNBC, the very same MSNBC that was going hard at Trump, like absolutely as hard as they possibly could at Trump. And just to watch their response on this is amazing to me. Just
outside an upscale grocer in Wilmington. When Hunter Biden realized that that's where his gun had gone, he immediately took steps for it to be retrieved that ultimately led to the charges at issue here.
No. See, this is unbelievable how bad they're simping for Hunter Biden. I mean, seriously, the amount of simp, the amount of seethe and cope that these people have going hard on Trump one day, and not even a week later, they're going, well, he went to remedy it as soon as he found out about it. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. It was tossed. and it was found by a homeless person and was turned into the police. That's how the government got involved in this first place. The Department of Justice got involved in it because this firearm comes showing up, and whenever they check on the serial numbers, come to find out it's a registered handgun to the president's son. And what year did this happen? 2018. Why do you think they sat on it for so damn long? Why do you think that the Fed sat on this for so damn long? Because they knew who was going to be running, or possibly was going to be running for president, and what kind of crap storm this would have brought. Same reason that whenever the FBI was handed the information about Hunter's laptop, that they did nothing about it. Why there was a campaign to call it Russian disinformation, misinformation. You couldn't find that story on anywhere, any damn news station. Nobody wanted to talk about it. And if they did talk about it, there's more Russian disinformation. It's Trump Russian disinformation, just like he did whenever he won. Why is it always Russian disinformation or somebody else's fault instead of them being able to own up for it? Difference between a candidate versus a son of a candidate. Well, I was going to say son of something else, but
Also think about the plea deal and how it unraveled. Hunter Biden had what is known as a diversion agreement on gun charges and a deferred prosecution agreement on tax charges that were in.
Well, he did until they, yeah, he did have that until they were just like, yeah, no deal.
Interwoven together. The reason it fell apart last summer principally is because Judge Noreika, who presided over this trial, said it wasn't appropriate for her to be the person in the first instance to determine whether Hunter was in compliance with the diversion agreement. Prosecutors and
Wow. Yeah, that right there was the difference. Hey, Deborah, good to see you.
Hunter Biden's lawyer both wanted that. Why? For reasons.
Why? Because it's a sweetheart deal. That's why they wanted it. Come on. Are you that willfully ignorant? Come on, MSNBC.
That
Get
were
your head out of your
unspoken
ass.
because there was a fear that if Joe Biden were not reelected and former President Trump were to be elected as president, that a Republican-led Department of Justice could retributively seek to.
Hey, I didn't catch that because that was the stupidest thing that I ever heard.
Biden were not reelected and former President Trump were to be elected as president, that a Republican-led Department of Justice.
A Republican-led Department of Justice. What? I'm sorry. I am confused. Because if you're telling me that if you're saying to me, MSNBC, you wonderful news station, whatever your name is, I don't know. I have no way of describing her except maybe your face threw up or neck threw up. I don't know, something like that. If you're telling me that the Justice Department is partial, that the Justice Department is Democrat and Republican, then that means that everything that we suspect right now is true, that this is a Democrat-led Justice Department that's going after Trump. Is this some sort of Freudian slip, or we just know that that's how you view your Justice Department, is being in line with Democrats and Republicans. And if that's the case, nothing to be confused about. We were afraid once Trump wins in November, the Justice Department would go after Hunter and go full bore, and not a lenient sentences they gave him. Yeah. With this trial.
Could retributively seek to fine Hunter Biden in non-compliance with the terms of that deal. That's why they wanted the judge to supervise it. And she said, that's not my job. That's how.
Which is correct. It's not her job. And they are just coping and seething over this. Hey, you have a good one, JD. Have to get ready for the doctor. Well, I hope that everything goes well. I do hope that everything goes well. I always wish the best whenever anybody has to go visit the doctor. Hashtag Candyman. God.
How the whole plea agreement fell apart. That's what led to today's indictment and then trial and, of course, conviction. Again, not at all surprising, but still, nonetheless, Anna, a real tragedy.
A lot has been.
How is it a tragedy that justice was served? How is it a tragedy that justice was served? That he was found guilty of being guilty. Geez, how is it justice being served? Unlike, as soon as they found out that Donald Trump was running for presidency, they went after him. As soon as they found out that Donald Trump was saying, yes, I'm running again, that's whenever they really went hard at him. Yeah, a tragedy. A tragedy that someone could have gotten that firearm. A tragedy that someone could have got that firearm. No, you want to know what a tragedy is. This right here. This is a tragedy. This right here, it happened in at Peachtree Center, downtown Atlanta. That right there is a tragedy. The 4 people were shot, including the suspect. That right there is a tragedy. That is a tragedy. This
About just how unusual this case was. The fact that Hunter Biden.
It is not unusual. See, it amazes me that whenever you've got these lefties that get very upset about ownership of handguns, that people owning handguns, whenever it's one of their own, it's such a tragedy. It's a sad verdict. It's horrible. What did these same people say about Kyle Rittenhouse? They kept the trope up that Kyle Rittenhouse went and crossed state lines with a firearm and shot 4 black people. That was what MSNBC was saying. CNN. All of the news channels that you were getting, this was the narrative that they pumped out. And it was a tragedy that these 4 black people lost their lives over somebody illegally crossing state lines with a firearm. Yet, it's a tragedy whenever another white guy gets high on crack, gets his gun dumped into a dumpster, it gets found, and he's found guilty for possession of a firearm. So that's a tragedy, but it's not a tragedy that Kyle Rittenhouse was attacked and defended himself. This red post again, Kyle Rittenhouse in the last 2 weeks. Yeah. What about the fact that the gun was thrown in the trash and anyone could have picked it up? That doesn't matter. Because according to them, Hunter, as soon as he found out about this, he went looking for it. With this conviction, is starting of them eating their own, or is this just a pass-through appeasement reality? What's the sentencing of this? That'll be telling. Yeah. I mean, I would, and as much as I would love to see Hunter go to prison, I don't think that would be appropriate. I honestly don't. I think that him to basically lose any ability to leave the country, that any ability to own a firearm would immediately put him in prison, that any amount of chicanery, that he would be placed under house arrest with a tether, that he should be that he should have to undergo random drug tests just like any other convict, that he be on probation. And I mean, that would be, and he would also, of course, have to pay for that tether, that he not be allowed to leave the country, and he would have to surrender his passport until his probation is done. And I would put him like on a 10-year probation. That would be, I mean, if I was a judge, because it would be horrible to put him in a prison. But yeah, put a tether on him. I mean, it would suck as it's not a safe environment for someone to be in this situation. Although I would, under normal circumstances, I would say put him in prison. But I mean, yeah, from a homeless man found it and turned it into the police. And community service, but definitely not being able to leave the country. Probation, community service, and he has to surrender his passport. I'm not allowed to do anything for like the next 10 years. That would be fair. I mean, think about it. How inconvenient that makes him, and would force him to stay clean. Yeah, because you get a random drug test and then they just throw him in prison. Treat him like they would treat any other criminal outside of throwing him into jail, into prison. I mean, I'm not cold. I'm not completely cold and heartless. That would be my suggestion. I would nothing more love to see him locked up, but I know that can't be realistic. Not because, and it's mainly because he is the president's son. I would expect the same kind of treatment from Donald Trump Jr. I would expect that same kind of treatment. I mean, this is my problem with people going hard and heavy at people, is, that one turn deserves another bad turn. And at some point you have to, yeah, I am. The crap he's done. Yes, but and here's the thing, the crap he's done, but this is what he's being convicted of. Doesn't matter what he's done, just in this particular instance, for this particular thing. I'm as much, it's like you want to see the bad people burn in Hades. But realistically, for what they've done, I would much rather see that he comes off with something that's realistic. That makes it more difficult whenever he's trying to do an appeal. That would be my suggestion, because he's going to try to appeal this. Yeah. Sadly, I'm a heartless when it comes to Bidens and Clintons and the Bushes. Yeah, and the Obamas. Yeah, I know. I understand. Trust me, I do understand. But I mean, that to me sounds like something that is that can be very restrictive. I don't know. I'm just a forgiving person.
Biden had this gun for just 11 days, never fired it.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. 11 days, 2 seconds, half a millisecond, doesn't matter. Does not matter how long he had it. And this is what I say. I've had to say a separate question. What color light bulb is your light? Just asking because it looks like you have orange skin. Well, I don't. I've got multiple lights in here. I have a ring light that keeps it on more of a toned down thing. If not, then I just look all like pale. And I'm not into putting makeup on. Just saying, I don't want to look like the non-sunlight getting person that I am. Part of it is skin tone though. But no, I've got purple lights that sit off to the back, and then I've got a ring light that sits in front of me. And then of course I have regular overhead lights. Whenever I turn them up to 100%, it gets really bright in here. I remember Orange Man Bad. See, this would be what, whenever I say these kinds of things, about being who he does. I never thought about it. No, don't want to do that. Whenever I bring things up like these stories like this, I don't wish harm on people. And this is something that I think a lot of people, as much as I despise Laura Owens, I have to look at these things realistically, as a human being. I hope that she finds somebody that, fits her well, on the same hand that I think that she should be seriously reprimanded for the crap that she did. She should be found to have to pay for all attorney's fees and whatever other monetary damages that the judge throws at her. But do I want to have her lady bits torn apart or torn from her or some crap like that, like some of these people call for? No, I don't see that as justice. Making someone, does that count as makeup? Or Viking warping, does that count as makeup? That's awesome. Yeah, she needs to seek help. Exactly. And I hope that she gets the help that she needs. And I hope one day, and I'm being serious whenever I say this, I hope that one day that Laura Owens can actually have children and she finds someone that loves her for her. As despicable and as horrible I think she is, I think that, there should be some sort of grace. And that's the same way that I feel about a lot of stuff. Well, except for, people that do me wrong, then I have no mercy for them. But that's a me thing. That has nothing to do with them. I think that whenever we go hard at people to the point where we're talking about death and horrible things happening to them, that we start falling into the same trap that they've fallen into, and it makes us no better than a savage. It takes away all of our social ability as human beings to socialize with one another in a respectful way. And I mean, it's fun to make it, not fun. It's cathartic to have those thoughts of bad things happening to people that we feel have done bad things to others. And outside of, the whole kid thing, I think that people should, be given grace. Whenever it comes to kids, I don't think there should be any grace given on that at all. That's just my personal thoughts. You go after children, just no. That's it. I used to believe that I'm 51 and I haven't found anyone. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I think if a woman makes charges against the man that are false in nature, she should be given that sentence. Yes. I mean, that's, like I said, that's me personally. You can do whatever you want to, or believe however you want to. I'm just saying this is what helps me be able to sleep at night. Whenever I say these things, I'm not telling you that you have to believe the same thing I do. I'm just telling you this is how I'm able to sleep at night. To know that I'm not stooping to the level of these people. Like this lady right here. I'm just as quick to call out the left as I am the right whenever I see it. Well, most of the time. I'm not without flaws, but hey, whatever.
It wasn't used to carry out another crime of some sort. What's your big takeaway with this verdict today and where we
No,
are?
because it was a crime in the first place. It doesn't matter whether he meant to carry it out or not. It was a crime. The crime was committed, but as soon as he possessed that firearm, as soon as he lied on those forms, he committed the crime. Same crime that had it been anybody else. If it had been me, the opposite of Hunter Biden, they would have been gladly sending my ass to prison over this. I mean, look at how they treated the January 6th, protesters. Look at how they treated them. Just for stepping inside, they've been sitting in prison this whole time. Just they haven't even had trial, but they've been sitting in prison this whole time. And of course, they called that an armed insurrection, is what they called it. But they've been sitting in prison the whole time. Now, what would I like to see done with those folks? Because I mean, we can go into that. What would I like to see done with those folks? Well, if it was trespassing, then they need to be charged with trespassing. You can move that crap right along. But if you start charging them with things that are just your own made up craziness, then you've got easy. Well, of course they all had arms and hands and feet. They'd be lucky to see grass outside prison walls again. Yeah, exactly. We would be very lucky to see grass outside the prison walls. That's very, very true.
We are.
Well, exactly what Lisa said. Remember, a year ago, these same prosecutors were offering him a diversion program for 2 years. And
doesn't matter. What changed that they decided to prosecute him? Probably because they looked into a little bit deeper.
And then charges dismissed. And I think it would be
no, they never said they were going to dismiss the charges.
An outrage if a year later, it's called the trial penalty. He will be penalized for going to trial and then get incarceration. He is a very sad figure, as are many people throughout this country. And he will now be, when he's sentenced, a convicted felon. There, in my humble opinion, is no need to incarcerate him for these charges. He will.
Well, and I think he should be incarcerated. Personally, if it was anybody else, they'd be incarcerated. They would be in prison. Okay. But like I said, in his case, I don't think he should be put in prison just because of being high profile. It's going to be very hard to keep an eye on him and keep him safe. That right there would be pretty close to being a death sentence. But that being said, I still think he should be incarcerated. As far as he should have an ankle monitor on him for the next 10 years, be on probation for the next 10 years. and to make sure that he does random drug tests for the next 10 years. His passport should be taken away from him and not allowed to leave the country. And if he leaves the state, that he has to report to a probation officer in the next state. Oh, I want it to be freaking difficult on him. I want it to be really damn difficult. And anything outside of that, if he strays outside of that, found with any sort of drugs, if he's found not reporting to the probation officer in whatever state that he happens to be traveling to, that he immediately goes to prison. Do not pass go, no questions asked. Not even a trial. Just boom, you're picked up, got a bond hearing, you're thrown in prison. And then you serve out the rest of your time in full, the full 25 years. I mean, if you want me to, that's my brutal take on it. What is really sad, he's referred to as the president's son. Yeah, well, I mean, I've got no say so in that one. I cast my vote how I cast it.
Well, he should get the same diversion program. And, once an addict, always an addict. I'm assuming he's in recovery, but it will help him. But so that's the sad part, is that he went to trial. It would have been a miracle if there.
The sad part is not that he went to trial. The sad part is that he's a freaking criminal. Yeah, I think he should be drug tested for life. Better lock his ass to the U.S. only. Yes, no international travel. Absolutely. Like I said, he would have to turn in his passport, and if he leaves the country, boom, pick him up, extradite him back, put him in prison. I'm sure the prisons in Delaware are really nice.
There was an acquittal. It would have been the jury doing nullification, saying we're sympathetic to him, which you're not.
Well, why would jury nullification even come in?
Supposed to do as a jury, but some jurors do that. So it is not an unfair verdict. They followed the law, but it's a sad verdict.
Sad for whom? Yeah, it's a sad verdict for you, but this is not the same thought that you had whenever it was Trump. If this was Donald Trump Jr., do you think they'd be saying it was a sad verdict? Oh, let's have sympathy on him because he's a drug addict.
Laura, Ken outlined a little bit of kind of the what's next, but as you look at the picture, like what is, point A to point B, what does that look like? What does this verdict now mean for Hunter Biden?
He's in even more legal jeopardy coming in just a few months in September on just the heels of the November election.
Oh, now the election becomes more important? Oh, all of a sudden, what? But he's not being voted in. This is what I don't understand. You idiots. I mean, she's a cute idiot, but she's still an idiot. He's not being elected in. It affects him none whatsoever. He's not being voted in. He can't paint anymore. I'm sure he can. I'm sure that he has painted the floor a few times and picked up little chunks of Parmesan off the bottom. If he did get prison time, it's federal prison, and with the right amount of cash, he can get the 5-star resort, the one that Martha Stewart was in, sadly. Well, there you go. There you go. What, she's saying that it's a sad verdict because it's a federal felony? President Trump's a state felony? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you look at the what Trump was charged with, they kept saying, "Oh, it was election fraud." No, that's a federal charge, and I guarantee you that Trump, and I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure that Trump is going to appeal this, which puts a hold on anything that they can possibly do against him. Not saying that he can't still be can't still be locked up while he's awaiting that to happen. But saying that that's the kind of shenanigans that they're gonna play. Oh, speaking of shenanigans, oh my God, there's only one kind of shenanigan that I like. So tell me, were you just sitting back there screaming, going, "He's got this so damn wrong"?
No, man, I'm too busy driving. I'm pulling the MG law today.
Awesome, I love it. How you doing, brother?
Doing good. By the way, there are lots of cute girls that are idiots. Just saying.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and she is an absolute cutie. I'm just like, damn. She's not very bright, or she's just reading the teleprompter and being told what to say. That's always a possibility.
Yeah, well, that's what they do on MSNBC.
Yeah, they
They're
don't have
notorious for it.
Yes, I mean, this just, whenever I saw this come across last night, I covered it for like 2 seconds. I was like, I can't. I because I have a different chat at night.
Yeah,
you know that they don't really like the political stuff. I was like, I'm going to be talking about this tomorrow morning. This is because I see it as being completely ridiculous that, here you have a president's son, and they're making it sound like, oh, with the election coming up in November, doesn't matter. It doesn't affect him whatsoever.
Actually, it does. And I won't tell you why.
How does it affect Hunter Biden? How does it affect Hunter Biden?
No.
That his
it does. No. You're correct in that. It does not affect Hunter Biden. It does affect Joe Biden.
That's what you get, son.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, sure, it affects Hunter, his dad, but it doesn't affect Hunter one way or the other.
No, he's not running for office.
Exactly. They've made it sound like he's running for office. He's not running for office. And, every time they sit there and they go, well, this is politically motivated. Sure. But it has nothing to do with Hunter Biden. He's not the one running for office. That should not affect his conviction whatsoever.
No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't.
And that if you heard it, the juror even said, yeah, we realize that is president's son. We all recognize that, and we put that aside, and we looked at the case, and that's how we made our decision.
Yes, because it is possible to make a legal decision not based on politics.
Amazing, isn't it?
I know it. I've kind of got a little different take on this.
Okay, I want to hear it.
At least my theory. I think that they moved forward with this just so they could say, see, not even the president's son's above the law. But is this really the most damning thing they could have got him on?
On this go round, no.
This is minor. This is a nothing burger compared to what he's done. So to me, I think they were just doing this just to kind of say, well, see, not even the president's son's above the law. Mm-hmm. But it's so minor. He's going to end up getting deferment anyway.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's, like I said, what I would love to see, because everyone said, oh, throw him in prison. I'm like, no, I want to see him on a tether that he has to pay for the next 10 years and have to relinquish his passport, where he cannot leave the country, even to do any sort of business. Any state that he goes to, that he has to turn himself into the probation officer, submit himself to drug tests that he has to pay for. Yep. That's what I want to see happen. I mean, that would be fair.
Because if this were anybody else,
Oh,
they would have to go to prison.
right.
As much as this Justice Department wants to kind of, put all their emphasis on, let's face it, gun control.
Yes.
If this were an ordinary citizen,
if it were me or you,
right?
Yeah.
If it were me or you, we would be looking at jail time. He
Oh,
will
yeah.
not. He will
No.
not.
Which I understand. Being the president's son, I understand that makes it a security issue, like a really bad security issue, and that's why I'm saying that would be my compromise for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Tethered has to submit himself to drug tests and
Right.
random drug tests, and he's on probation, has to relinquish his passport.
Well, if all these people were concerned about him, then what's wrong with forcing him to be clean for the next 10 years?
Yeah, I find nothing wrong with that.
No.
I mean, and like I said, this is something that, but the only reason that I would be saying this is because he is, and I'm looking at this. Okay, if this was Donald Trump Jr. and I was like, shit, he's going to be spending the next 25 years in prison because he did something really damn stupid, something illegal, stupid, got himself into trouble. What would I want the outcome to be? Knowing that if he goes into the prison system, that could easily be a death sentence, and unless of course he gets like the Martha Stewart treatment, as someone pointed out. I would want to see them, not have to be in the prison system just because they're such a high profile person. And
Dude,
it makes it more
Martha,
difficult.
Martha Stewart is a certified gangster. She hangs out with Snoop.
Yep. But then he still has these tax evasion problems. 1.4 million that he owes in back taxes.
Yeah. Well,
and unpaid.
If the conflict in Ukraine keeps up, I'm sure he can recoup that.
Well, and American Dreamer, what gang would Hunter join in prison? We all know what gang he would join in prison, because he would shave his head, get the tattoos, put on the Doc Martens with the white shoelaces, because that's his core beliefs. At least that's what his father says. Just saying. That's so bad. I shouldn't say things like that.
Well, but I love the commentary you get from the left, as opposed to what they said, about Trump. It's
just a week ago.
It's a legal decision, but it's a sad decision. Well, who screwed that up? Hunter.
Yeah. This is where you screw the shit up. I'm just like beating my head going, God, man, you people, like, and I mean, because I went through all of the news today, and the only news that they have is what is new in iOS 18 for Apple, Chiquita Brand's verdict.
Yep.
Hunter Biden conviction, and Israel thing. They've quieted down on Ukraine. They haven't said anything about illegal immigration since Biden got his ass hammered on that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Although
since Joe went to the border,
I did find something really, really interesting. Okay, now it was buried, and the only way that you would find out it was something was, and let me see it. I'll have to pull up my history on this one, so give me just a second, because this just it's really hard to explain where I got this from. Here's the problem. I look at my damn stock my stocks in the morning. Whenever I get up, one of the first things I do is look to see where everything is. And something came across that was like, what in the hell is this? Like, in give me just a second. Let me find it here, because it really set me off, because I was like, what is, open that in a new tab, and open this in a new tab, and open this in a new tab. Okay. So one of the things I look at is like, see where certain stocks are going. Okay. And one of the first things that I noticed was there was this stock that dropped like 30%, 38%. And I was like, what in the hell is this stock that just dropped 38%? Is this something I should be looking into? Okay. And so whenever I pulled up that particular information, it was this right here. Target Hospitality provides update on South Texas Family Residential Center located in Dilley, Texas. Okay, because Target Hospitality is a stock, and it dropped like 38%. It went from being, a really good stock to being basically nothing. And what it was is Target Hospitality Corp., one of the North America's largest providers of vertically integrated modular accommodations and value-added hospitality services, today received notice that the U.S. government intends to terminate the existing South Texas Family Residential Center services agreement with Target Migration Programming Partner, effective in 60 days on or about August 9th, 2024. As a reminder, Target provides faculty and hospitality solutions to the STFRC partner through a lease with services agreement, and partner has provided Target intention to terminate, blah, blah, blah. They'll retain ownership of these assets, enabling the company to continue utilizing these modular solutions, given the notice of termination, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there going, what? Because I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, so vertically termination, June 30th. So it's giving you effect. And I'm like, okay, so who would be taking their place in this position? Because I'm like, that might be like, if they're losing this contract, then who's picking up the contract? So whenever I did a little bit of digging, because I was like, that might be some worthwhile stock to purchase. I was like, what is this South Texas Family Residential Center? And this is what I pulled up. South Texas Family Residential Center is the largest illegal alien detention center in the United States, opened in December 2014 in Dilley, Texas. It has a capacity of 24,000, is intended to detain mainly women and children from Central America. On June 12, 2015, it was reported the facility was holding 1,735 people, approximately 1,000 of whom were children. In filings dated on the 30th of 2018, the operator said the property was 100% full. Core Civic, previously called Corrections Corporation of America, is seeking a license to operate the facility as general residential operation. And then I was like, oh, well, let's look up what Core Civic is. So I looked up Core Civic thinking, oh, maybe this would be the ones that's going to be replacing them. Now, Core Civic is out of Nashville, Tennessee, and it's operated by Thomas W. Beasley, Robert Krantz, and D. Ton Hudo. It received investments from Tennessee Valley Authority, Vanderbilt University, Jack C. Macy, founder of Hospital Corporation of America, as of 2016. Okay, so I started looking into their stock, and their stock was tanking also. So I went back and I continued on the article. The continuation of the article is litigation was brought on by Texas Rio Grande Legal Aid on behalf of grassroots leadership and the detainees themselves to block the licensing by the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services, and they're shutting down the facility for good. And this has to do with, it's approximately 100 miles north of Rio Grande, 70 miles southwest of San Antonio. The address, of course, they give there, it's a 50-acre site containing 80 small tan-colored two-bedroom, blah, blah, blah. And the detainees and the administration, and they're shutting it down.
Yeah.
Okay, this is part of what Biden's doing. He's shutting down these facilities.
Yep.
Okay, so there is no replacement stock for this one. So watching this, I was like, oh. Now, where is this in the news? Where would this be in the news? Do we see any of this in our news stories whatsoever? No, it's not there. It's completely devoid of any of this information. our news cycle does not cover things like this. They're more concerned with
No, because there's no way to spin it.
Exactly. Like, ICE stated their intention to terminate the contract as they move close to the facility due to high costs. Local sources indicated the United States government pays approximately $19 million monthly to operate the facility. Do you remember back in what was it? Just pretty early on, the beginning of the year, whenever they tried putting together this border crisis bill, and they bundled in all the Ukraine stuff. Do you know how much they were looking to cut a check for the southern border?
Yep.
It wasn't $1 billion. It was what, 20 billion?
Yeah, easy.
19 billion. And if this thing is costing 19 million monthly, that doesn't leave for very much. And this is just one facility that's costing taxpayers 19 million. They say United States government. No, that's United States taxpayers. Now, you tell me, as a question that CNN gave to this juror number 10, do you think it was useful funds, taxpayer funds, to prosecute Hunter? Do I think it's useful funds to send 19 million monthly to operate a facility that detains illegals, mostly children? And the reason those children are there, it isn't because they're wanting to separate them from their families, is because they can't get proof that these people are actually their family.
Right.
Yeah, it looks really odd whenever you've got, 10 kids coming across with one person. He's saying, "Oh, these are my children," and none of them look alike. And it's usually a male. I mean, there might be one female there, and the female doesn't look at all like their mother, or she's too young or too old. And you're going, yeah, she would be a medical miracle, because whenever you got the oldest child at 16 and the mother's like 26.
Well, and here's the other thing that I immediately think of. Okay, do what? No, okay.
Go ahead. You just went through a bad sell. We'll have you back in just a second. His voice will come in. All right, go ahead.
Okay.
You cut out there.
All right, am I back now?
Yeah, you're back.
Hello. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're still here.
Now,
yeah, back.
Okay.
And he's not. He's in a bad. See, you have to understand that he's driving around a mountaintop, so he's going to get bad cell reception for a couple, and then it'll come back and he'll get a little bit less
through federal.
Oh, see, that wasn't me that did that. That wasn't me that did that. He lost connection. He will be back whenever he gets better cell reception. God, that was so amazing. That's enough to finish the wall in a month, to finish the wall. Well, and this was Trump's point. I mean, you still may have to have one of these facilities. You may still have to have one of these facilities, but it is most important to secure it. Having the facility is fine, but securing the border then to have the facility is what you want to have. There we go. I figured you'd be back in a good cell.
Is that better?
That's better.
Okay.
So what was your thought?
No, I think what it was, I was running YouTube at the same time.
Oh.
It was screwing up my signal. Yeah, I was too busy listening to you in the background while I'm trying to run this thing. No, I just can't help but wonder who's running these facilities.
Oh, that's easy. The Corrections Corporation of America.
Yeah, and I wonder how much do they donate to the DNC?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And if you dig into them, because if you look up what core civic is, it's private prisons. Like that's their industry is private prisons. And they're in Nashville. Their headquarters are actually in Brentwood, Tennessee.
It doesn't surprise me. Nashville's becoming more blue by the day.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It'll only get worse. It'll only get worse. That's why I'm telling you, you need to be wearing coveralls, playing a banjo, and having some odd looking children doesn't help either. Just yeah, you just got that, didn't you?
Yes.
So the prison industry declined in the late 20th century as crime rate was decreasing nationally and privatization was under attack by critics and legislatures. There has been widespread reports of escapes, inmate violence, and deplorable conditions in such private facilities. Speculative prison buildings, sometimes supported by small municipalities, hoping to increase local employment, has increased competition and the pressure to keep prisons filled. Yeah, there's pressure to keep the prisons filled.
Of course.
Because it's a booming economy. Just this one company, Core Civic, just to give you an idea of we lost them again. Just to give you an idea how much revenue that they've got is 1.98 billion. That's their revenue. Their operating income is 281 million. Their net income is 188 million. Their total assets is 3,792,000,000. Their total equity is 1,377,000,000. The number of employees that they had in 2019 was 14,075. What are they going to do with all the residents in that existing facility? They'll move them to other ones. They'll combine them with other facilities. So those children will be moved into different. Oh, bet I froze up, didn't I? Give it a second. I've got to close some tabs here. Let's close this all out right there. There we go. That should smooth things out. Oh, Zimaxamura. Wow. Ooh, this is pretty cool. I love it. Yeah, you're going through those bad cells. I know that feeling.
I really am pulling an MG today.
Hey, I'm used to it with MG, and it never bothers me. So I'm like, yeah, I know what's happening.
Hey, it annoys the hell out of me.
Oh, does it? Because you're right in the middle of a thought, and all of a sudden it's just like, what?
Yeah, and then it completely cuts out, and I'm just sat here talking for a good 5 minutes, and nobody heard any of it.
No. And then just imagine you hit the live button, but then you forget to hit it the second time, and you spend 20 minutes talking to yourself. And you're like, man, that was some really great thoughts. And then you look over and you're like, oh, I haven't hit go live yet.
Well, what's funny is how people accidentally cut off their streams because you have to hit the quit button like twice.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how do you accidentally cut yourself off?
I know how you can cut yourself off without doing that, without hitting the exit button twice. Okay. And
like people.
That's cutting the StreamYard. That's cutting the StreamYard. Okay. Yeah. Now cutting it on StreamYard is one thing, but if you have a tab open that views your stream on YouTube, like if you have that tab open, there is a button there that that you can hit that will end the stream. And I don't know if there's a backup where it tells you to hit it twice. I think it just immediately ends it. So I can understand how people do that.
Gotcha.
So I've never tried it to find out if it does anything, because, well, I'm trying to be a little more professional. Right.
Why start now?
Yeah, why start now? But what I've got is going on now. Like I said, this is really cool. We're coming up on the 2-hour mark, and I know that Mo is going, and I've got I'm sending over there. Make sure that you hit the like button on the way in and on the way out of here, and everybody have a wonderful day. What is today? Today's hump day. Come on. I mean, it is working its way closer and closer to the weekend as we speak. And what do you got coming up there, Boss Storm? Anything?
The only thing I've got coming up is going to be, of course, FNL. Everybody knows that. And
yes.
Hey, man, like everybody else.
Yeah, everyone. With that, we'll see you very soon. Peace.
Now I gotta call somebody to come get me because my car turned into a spaceship and I don't know how to fly it. I'm not an astronaut.